Now that we've installed Django, we're ready to begin setting it up. The setup process, while not difficult, is somewhat lengthy, so I'm going to spread that out over a few lessons. The first thing we need to do is create a directory to store our project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a directory and call it project to keep it simple. And then I'm going to change directories into that project. The next step is to run a Python program that will set up the files for the project. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to type Python, and then we have to type a long path into the directory. The program is called djangoadmin.py, and then we type start project and my site. We're just going to name it my site, our project, and it will fit inside this project directory. So we hit enter. It's going to run just for a minute, and then it comes back to our command prompt. Type a directory, and you see we have a subdirectory for my site. We can cd into that subdirectory, and there are the files that we need. The next step then is to make sure that everything is working correctly. So what we're going to do is we're going to run another command program that will make sure that our server, our local host server, is up and running. So we're going to type Python manage.py run server. Wait just a second while it runs. Takes it just a moment this first time. Okay, now you can open a web browser. I'll start a new one here. And you can type 127.0.0.1 8000. Now we know our Django server is working. So that's the next step, and we've completed that. So we can close that browser window, and we can Control-C from there to stop the server. Now the next step is to set up our settings file to tell it the database that we're going to use. Make sure that we have our settings file local. There it is. So type Notepad or whatever text editor you want to use. Settings.py. I see. I've modified my path, so Notepad's not on my path anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start Notepad. We're going to open the file from here. This is not a problem. So we're going to go back to my C drive. Find my project folder, which is right here. Change this to all files. And there's my settings. The things we need to change at this point is, first of all, we need to tell it what database we're using. So we're going to add SQLite 3 right here. Then we need to tell it the name of the database, and we'll type a path. So we're going to type c:/project/mysite/test.db, and you can call that database anything you want to. And at that point, we should have everything we need for the databases set up. So we're going to click File Save or File Exit, and we'll save the file. Now the next step is to sync the database. So we type Python manage.py syncdb. We're not going to create a super user since we're working on our own local system. And we're set. That's going to wrap up this first lesson on setting up Django, and we'll continue with the setup in the next lesson.